it'll all work out. So how was the exam? Good. Hopefully you didn't get freaked out by the questions like, what would you say? How would you? There's a couple that are pretty open-ended, right? Like, what would you tell your neighbor? Realize that whatever you put, as long as you tied something back, that I made you analyze like 12 things back at the beginning, right? Moving average, trim mean. As long as you referenced at least one of those things, your answer's fine. I mean, there's not going to be a right answer. You'll be learning this as we go through the course, that in the world of statistics, there is not one right answer. Usually. Now sometimes if I ask you what the average of a bunch of numbers is, there's one right answer, there's the average. But as far as what you would report back, there's not going to be one in general. And that's kind of the we're in right now with this whole idea of percentile ranking. It's just one more thing to talk about. I left that off of this exam because we hadn't finished talking about it yet, but what's up?
It gives me those ones where there's not a
I know.
definitive
Drives you guys nuts.
Yeah, it's hard for me.
Well, of course, because I have 14 years of the American school system in my way. For 14 years, you memorized times tables, you added fractions, you did all this stuff that has like one input equals one output. And now what you've got is you've got all these inputs and then a sorting mechanism and then a reporting mechanism, which is extraordinary. You have to switch your aim. And this is hard. I'm not saying this is easy, Brian. You bring up a very, very good point. Statistically, what's hard about it is you have to accept the gray in the answers. Much like Bob Shaw has to accept the gray when he tells us when the snow is going to start accumulating. There's definitely some gray in there, yeah? He's like, well, we put the warning out at 4 a.m. And yet it's 8 a.m. now, and there's still hardly anything on the ground. So I mean, that's part of his job. A big part of his job is knowing when to put that bound. And hopefully, if he has one late bound and one early bound, hopefully between those bounds is something's going to happen that he can put. Otherwise, he starts getting hated emails. You know, I'm dealing with my East Coast friends right now. Are apparently getting hammered with snow. They keep canceling school, and the parents are freaking out. Why are they canceling school? I'm like, because they're doing their job statistically. And it's more evidence that people don't know how to think that way, and it's okay. That's why I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to see what you guys track down as far as the graphs you found. I've seen a couple coming in as you guys are reporting. I'm just excited about seeing the rest of them. So I'll get these graded over the weekend at some point, probably between watching my son ski jump at hoodoo. What else? I apologize. Yesterday afternoon I finally fixed the footnote on that Chebyshev's quiz. So don't worry about those 2 questions that were giving you goofy answers. Don't worry about those. There was 2 where I had you plug it in. If you did Chebyshev, you might not have done it at all. But there was 2 where you were plugging in standard deviations. Technically, you weren't allowed to, and it was vomiting out strange results that didn't make any sense. That was the point. The point is that you've got a great algebraic construct, but it's got a limitation. And otherwise, if you try to go within one standard deviation, it starts vomiting useless information back at you. So, just a limitation. It's one of the points is it is limited. So don't worry about that. And were there 2 quizzes potentially today? Chebyshev, or was it just Chebyshev?
One. Just actually you had to do on Tuesday, but you said we could push it back till the day.
Gotcha. So was that the gas diesel one?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally fine. And I put another variation quiz up for next week if you want to do it. I don't want to leave that idea behind. Not like we're going to. It's always going to be there in the background as we chit chat. So that you've got this another variation quiz on bell-shaped data. I found some nice bell-shaped data to play with. We'll go back to bell-shaped data today. Maybe we'll see how time goes. And I put a second quiz up too. Oh, on what's called relative position, which is kind of what we're in the middle of right now. So we took a look back last time to center and variation. And then I added this relative position idea. Actually. And if you have your TIs with your state data, I want to come back to that too. I saved it in my L6. Thank you.